And I'm Laverne McGee. Breaking news right now out of the Biden camp. With 4 days to go before the election, former Vice President Joe Biden is signaling that he is ready to start his transition team into the White House.
That's right. The Black News Channel has obtained a preliminary list of Mr. Biden's potential cabinet members. It was obtained by our very own Kelly Wright from The Kelly Wright Show, and included on that list is a number of women and minorities.
Here's a look at some of the high-profile names on that list. Former National Security Advisor Susan Rice for Secretary of State. Dr. Erica James for Treasury Secretary. She's the Dean of the Wharton School of Business. Vanita Gupta for the Department of Justice. She is the President and CEO of the Leadership Conference. Florida Congresswoman Val Demings or Texas Congresswoman Sheila Jackson Lee for Homeland Security Secretary.
Atlanta Mayor Keisha Lance Bottoms for HUD Secretary, Lisa Blunt Rochester for Commerce Secretary, and right now there are between 5 and 7 candidates for each of the 9 cabinet positions. There are nearly 50 candidates in all being considered, 20 of them being women.
In each poll of candidates, there is at least one woman and one minority represented, if not more. Again, this is a preliminary list and it could change in the coming weeks. And BNC talk show host and journalist Kelly Wright joins us now to tell us about this. Kelly, good to have you here on BNC Prime.
Well, Laverne, it's good to be a part of BNC Prime, and this is a very important topic and a very important list that's been released. When I was asking my source why release this now, it's kind of like an October surprise, if you will, I believe, to get out more of the Black and Hispanic vote because it is so crucial to this election. It's also to mark and show Joe Biden and Kamala Harris's commitment to being all-inclusive. For example, if you look at the Trump team and the Biden team, now one can ask the question, who's offering more color or the lack of color? Who's offering more diversity or the lack of diversity?
Well, this list that you've obtained has many impressive names on it. Do you know if they are aware that they're on this list?
I'm not aware if all of them know, but again, this is a transitionary team that it's not showing confidence or overconfidence for the Biden-Harris team. If you understand what's going on right now, Joe Biden really understands what he's up against, that this is not a walk in the park, especially in the midst of a pandemic and not knowing where things are going in terms of who will be decided and voted in as the next president of the United States. But this list is impressive, as you've talked about. Representative Val Demings, for one. Then there's Keisha Lance Bottoms, a popular mayor of the city of Atlanta. Wes Moore, who is the president of the Robin Hood Foundation. Kimberly Johnson, as you've pointed out, the executive vice president and COO of Fannie Mae. But let me point out a few other names that we haven't looked at. For example, over in Commerce, there's Ursula Burns, the former chair, CEO of Xerox. And then there's also Representative Lisa Blunt Rochester of Delaware, and Rosalind Brewer, who is the COO of Starbucks, and Larry Irving, telecom and information technology veteran, former Commerce Assistant Secretary. Going down the list, there's labor. There's my good friend, Representative Bobby Scott, Congressman of Virginia. He's also the head of the Education and Labor Committee there on the House. Also, Senator Bernie Sanders. And also on that labor list is Nita Turner, former Ohio State Senator. She was the national co-chair for Bernie Sanders. In transportation, you've got Eric Garcetti. And in education, it goes on. I mean, he's just looking at everybody. When I say he, Biden, as well as Kamala Harris, he is really serious about being all-inclusive, and he's showing this right here, just a couple of days away from election.
Yeah, very, very impressive list. So has your inside contact at the Biden campaign given you any indication that they are actually very confident about this win?
No. I think we heard it from the horse's mouth, so to speak. I don't think Joe Biden would mind me saying that, not referring to him as a horse. But look, the former vice president knows what he's up against, as I've stated. He knows this is a race to the finish line, and who crosses over that finish line will be the one who campaigns the most and gets out the message to the American people about who will serve the American people better And that is what he's trying to do. Of course, on the other side of the coin, you have President Trump, who is out there campaigning just as vigorously, just as hard. And of course, both of these men know what the stake is in the Black America. They know that they have to reach out to Black America, which is why you had the Trump administration rolling out a platinum plan for Black Americans, and you have Joe Biden rolling out Lift Every Voice plan for Black Americans, because they know how pivotal the Black American vote is. And so when you look at this list, even going down to U.S. Trade Representative Cedric Richmond of Louisiana, former Representative Harold Ford Jr. of Tennessee, a man that I used to follow quite a bit and used to interview quite a bit on his campaign to lift everybody up. He's been talking about this kind of plan where it's all-inclusive for many, many years, and now, depending on who wins this election, Harold Ford might have a chance to be considered as well. Cheryl Lynn Eiffel, the president, CEO of the NAACP Legal Defense Fund in Justice, as well as Andrew Cuomo, the governor of the state of New York. And another interesting name added to this list on justice, Preet Bharara, the former U.S. attorney, the Southern District of New York, who had a run-in with President Trump. As a result of that, he stepped down from his office. This is an amazing list of talent, pulling all the great rich resources to apply them to a possible Biden administration. But again, they're not overconfident. They're confident that they can win, but they've got to fight all the way to the end. And Joe Biden knows that. Kamala Harris knows that, which is why over the weekend you'll see them get out there and keep campaigning safely in the midst of this COVID-19 pandemic. They won't be talking about rounding the curve in terms of the coronavirus. They'll be talking about how to flatten the curve if they're elected and put into office.
Yeah, that's quite an impressive list. So you're going to be talking more about this on your show on Monday, and we'll have you on BNC Now and Ladies First. But real quick, you've also interviewed President Donald Trump in the past, and Ice Cube is coming out now talking about his relationship with the president and his plan. How legitimate is that?
Well, listen, Ice Cube, when I interviewed him, Ice Cube was very specific. He's looking for anyone who has power to understand the importance of empowering talented, resourceful, accomplished, and great African Americans. His plan is called the Contract with Black America. He presented it to Donald Trump. He presented it to Joe Biden. The Biden campaign basically stated, let's wait until after the election. Donald Trump, realizing that he was thin in trying to reach out to Black Americans in his platinum plan, adopted part of the Contract with Black America. And as a result of that, Ice Cube was quick to talk to him, as he should talk to members of power and people who are in power. Of course, he got excoriated by that for doing that. Now, when it comes to Donald Trump, when I talked to him, all of you have seen that interview with him, and I asked him what would settle the racial divide in this country. And to his point, he said the economy, the successful economy. But if you look at Joe Biden says it's more than the economy. It's the soul of America. It's bringing people together, brother to brother, sister to sister. So the American people must now decide, and Black Americans, as I always stated on this show, and now on your show, always exercise your right to vote. Remember the great and late John Lewis, who marched across the Edmund Pettus Bridge in Selma to get that right to vote passed. Remember, before he died, standing on the plaza of Black Lives Matter, not far from the White House, and stating, stir up some good trouble, exercise your vote. Of course, blacks are not monolithic. We've got Republicans and Democrats who are out there. But this is an amazing document right here, confidentiality, and I'm delighted to bring it to the American people so that Black Americans can see that Joe Biden and Kamala Harris are committed to being inclusive. Men, women, Black, Hispanic, Latino, white, everybody.
We appreciate that so much, Kelly Wright, that exclusive information, and we will watch for you on Monday at 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time for more. As always, we appreciate your time here on BNC Prime. We'll see you next week.
Appreciate you too, Laverne.